Welcome back, everyone. Now, last week we reviewed German power metal band's sophomore album, 1987's Keeper of the Seven Keys, Part 1. Now, this week we'll be covering their 1988 follow-up, Keeper of the Seven Keys, Part 2. Now, this album, along with the first installment, were intended by the band to be just one record, so much so that you can now purchase the two of them together as a singular album. But at the time, the record label decided to release them as two separate albums, and to this day, no one, including the band, knows why. Now, this record would also be the last to involve participation from guitarist, co-founder, and original vocalist Kai Hansen for nearly 30 years, until 2017 when he rejoined the band. Now, there's a lot more history I could go into about this, but I'll save that for a future video essay or editorial somewhere down the line about the band. For now, we'll just stick to the record itself. So without further ado, join me as we dive into our review of Helloween's 1988 classic, Keeper of the Seven Keys, Part 2. Number 1. Invitation. Nothing much to say here, just a brief instrumental piece to start the album off. I give this one a 5 out of 10. Number 2. Eagle Fly Free. One of my favorite songs from the band right here. This song sits amongst the band's best known, and for good reason. It's super melodic, heavy, fast as hell, and has the catchiest goddamn hook you could possibly come up with. Definitely one of the songs that laid the blueprints for the generation of bands to follow in the next decade, such as Edguy, Stratovarius, Sonata Arctica, and plenty others. Definitely a classic of both the band and the power metal genre as a whole. 10 out of 10. Number 3. You'll Always Walk Alone. Another strong track here. This is one of those songs where the Iron Maiden influence really shines through. But I guess that isn't saying much, since the entirety of both Keeper albums and this band as a whole is a direct product of Maiden's music. At least the stuff that came out during this early era. I give this one a 7.5 out of 10. Number 4. Rise and Fall. Another one of my favorite Helloween songs. Everything about this track is amazing. Kishke kills it on the hook, which is of course extremely catchy. And the guitar work is stellar, especially the riffs during the verse sections. And the tongue-in-cheek comical lyrics just add even more character to an already great song. 10 out of 10. Number 5. Dr. Steen. Now, I love the main riff in this song. And once again, that hook, man. So damn catchy. And in case you were wondering, yes, this song is about Dr. Frankenstein and the many monsters he creates, from rock musicians to politicians. Excellent track here. 10 out of 10. Number 6. We Got the Right. If you So, this is one of the tracks that I personally never really cared for. It's not bad, it's just kind of there. Nothing particularly stand out about it. It's kind of just a standard metal track, in my opinion. Now, honestly, you could completely remove it from the album to no consequence, and it wouldn't take away anything in the slightest. It's listed that Kishke wrote this song solely by himself, so quality-wise, take that as you will. 3 out of 10. We're down to the last 2 songs. Number 7, March of Time. Another strong track here. We start with an epic guitar harmony in the intro, before getting full speed ahead at what these guys do best. Great musicianship from everyone, and some really catchy vocal lines from Kishke. In the hook, and in this case, even more so in the verses, nice guitar melodies, especially during the solo in the second half of the song. But I really, really like the vocal delivery during the verses. It will be stuck in your head once you hear it the first time. 10 out of 10. And the final song is called I Want Out. Now, along with the self-titled track Helloween from Keepers of the Seven Keys Part 1, I Want Out is by far the song that brought this band international recognition, and it's easy to see why. It wastes no time in getting straight to the goddamn point, assaulting you with a harmony of dual guitars from Wyckoff and Hansen, atop Ingo Switchenberg's forward-driving drums. I mean, out of every song in this band's catalog, this one is by far the likeliest to be instantly remembered by first-time listeners. It's that catchy. You'll find yourself whistling the melody at unexpected times, long after the song is finished. Trust me, I speak from experience. This song was on heavy rotation on MTV back in the late 80s, in Europe, I believe. I don't know if they played this on Headbangers Ball in the United States, because this band is practically unknown here, and even this style of music is practically unknown here. But I'd have to ask my older sister to be sure. She was an MTV teen at that time, and I hadn't been born yet. But I digress. Nevertheless, it's not hard to see why this song became the band's breakout hit. Fast, powerful, melodic, and memorable. Another 10 out of 10. And that, folks, is my review of Helloween's Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2. As I've stated before, this album along with Keeper's Part 1 are by far two of the most important albums in the entire power metal genre. The genre wouldn't exist without them, and we wouldn't have power metal adjacent subgenres such as melodic death and speed metal and symphonic metal if it wasn't for these albums and the influence that they had. Personally, I find them to be amazing pieces of art with a plethora of strong and memorable songs on both versions, regardless of your opinion on this band or the records themselves. There's no denying their existence are the entire reason that power metal exists today. Without Helloween and the Keepers albums, there would be no Stratovarius with their album Visions, no Sonata Arctica with their album Silence, no Ed Guy with Theater of Salvation, or none of the early Rhapsody of Fire albums, and a ton of other bands and albums that are now considered legends and veterans of this genre. And for this style of music, these albums were the OG blueprint, and their influence on European melodic metal has reigned unchallenged for nearly 40 years now, and they will always be the unchallenged godfathers of power metal. I'd like to take this time to thank my editor for all of his hard work, and to thank you all for your time as well. I sincerely appreciate it. I hope you all enjoyed this review. If so, I kindly request that you like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, all that, and share it with anyone whom you feel may be interested in this type of content. I hope you all are enjoying the autumn weather, and that you'll join me next week for the last review of Helloween month, as we jump ahead 6 years to the band's 1994 album, Master of the Rings. Until then, everyone, be safe, take care of yourselves, and each other.